Welcome back, guys, to the Calisthenic Hub. Yes, it's your host, Jeff. For those new to my channel, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel over the course of the time that I've been doing this. Thank you again. Today, I had the pleasure of having another athlete, a female athlete at that. Her name is Julie. So let's get right in. And thank you, Julie, for actually doing this with me. I know we had some early inconveniences with scheduling, so thank you again for that.
All good, all good.
So Julie, let's dive right in, and let's get to know more about you and your journey with calisthenics. How old are you? Where you're from? Where you're located? And yeah, let's start with that.
Well, I am from Germany originally. I have been living in Dubai for the past 12 years. So I call Dubai more or less my home now. I initially came to Dubai for my previous career in hotel management. I went to college for hotel management, worked in hotels over here for 10 years approximately. While being in hotels, about 4 years ago, by the way, I'm 36, almost 37. I started with fitness at the age of 30. I started with just basic running. Never really been into sports before. I had a general athleticism about me, I guess. I mean, I always got my good grades in PE class in high school, so got through that. Never really did anything about that in college in my 20s.
Got it.
With turning 30, I was like, I got to get a bit more fitter. I gained some weight, the usual stuff that happens in your 20s if you're not paying attention.
Right.
And then about 3.5 years ago, I stumbled across some amazing athletes on Instagram doing calisthenics. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And I always had an admiration for gymnastics. I always thought that was beautiful. And in my little mind, I always was a gymnast, just never did anything for it. So, and I started Googling about it and I started looking around and I found a coach here in Dubai who was offering personal training in calisthenics. So I was like, sign me up. I went for my first class. I literally couldn't do anything. I couldn't do a push-up. My big goal was to do one pull-up. And I was like, yes, I want to learn how to do a pull-up. I want to learn how to kick into a handstand. So really the basics of basics. And I was ready to put in the work. I was ready to get stronger because through the running, yes, I lost a lot of weight, but I literally had zero upper body strength. I had very bad core strength. So I wanted to learn how to use my strengths rather just being strong and muscly. I wanted to understand the movements. And that's what I love about calisthenics. It's not just like, I mean, no offense to any other sports, but it's not just about like, how much can you lift or anything. It's just like, there's so much more behind than just being strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, within 3 months, I got to my first pull-up and I kicked into handstands against the wall. I had a big struggle mentally with doing handstands. I guess when you're 33 and you kick into your first handstand, it's freaking scary. I thought about flying on my back, breaking my neck. So it took me a while to get comfortable upside down without a wall behind me, but been getting there. So yeah, that's pretty much my start. And then I really got so hooked to it that I got more and more into the calisthenics community here in Dubai through this amazing gym where I'm training at called Gravity. They such an amazing community. And I started training there and became actually certified, did the workshop through the WCO as a personal trainer to coach calisthenics. And actually 3 years ago, I left my hotel career to become a personal trainer. And yeah, that's pretty much my beginnings of how to get into calisthenics and to just literally not knowingly took over my complete life and changed my life to just what I'm living now. I'm like coaching people, getting people into fitness, inspiring people for fitness. And that's just what I love. And it changed my life so much, had such a positive aspect. I was a stressed out workaholic, really like to an extent that I kept telling my parents, if I keep going like this, I have a heart attack at 35. I need to change my life. I need to calm down. I need to go away from 15 hours working, just living for work, living off coffee, and just completely changed my life. And yeah, calisthenics, I just absolutely fell in love with the sport.
Wow, Julie, that's a complete turnaround, and I know works definitely consumes us at times, especially depending on careers. We become very focused with work, or and we don't even have to be workaholics. It's just sometimes our lives revolve on that clock in, clock out kind of like
Yeah,
robotic.
I mean, and we got to pay the bills, right? I mean,
Well, I was
it's
gonna get to
nice
that
to
next.
live
Yeah,
off fun and love and air, but unfortunately, there's a landlord who wants to have money. The grocery shop is not giving out food for free, like, so. I mean,
absolutely.
all
Yep.
the fun and how much we love it, but I mean,
Yeah.
unless you like born into like a millionaire's life, but
Right.
the
Right.
normal people, you and me, we have bills to pay, and so
A-
it always has to get done somehow.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure, for sure. And I love that you mentioned the struggle with handstands. I'm still struggling with it, and it is very frightening in the beginning. As kids, we would just flip it to a cartwheel, to a handstand, fall, no problem, get up, dust our shoulders or our knees off, and get right to it. And do it again. But as you get older, there's a huge fear factor that comes into play
Oh,
when.
absolutely. It's like, and funny enough, for me, what I realized, like movements that I did as a kid, even though I didn't do them for like 10 years, like a cartwheel, a headstand, or even like a pullover on the bars. We did that in PE class in gymnastics.
Yeah.
These came back like this. Like, even though I didn't do them for like 15 years, I tried it and I was like, oh, wow, my body remembers. Yes, but I've never done a handstand as a kid. I don't know why. I was not that type of kid. I was never done a handstand, never did flips or anything as a child. So I had like major mental blocks. I mean, flips, like backflip is my nemesis. It's like literally to the extent of a panic attack. I mean,
Yeah.
I started like last year. I started with backflips, and it was like I started 2019. I was like, I want to learn how to do a backflip. Like, get that fear over. And I started training with a coach, and he was amazing. And I actually did it on an air track, landing it on the mat within like 3 weeks. And I was like, oh my God. And I always saw myself doing them on the beach. And like, I was like, yay. And then the next class, I was unfocused. I landed on my head because I bailed out halfway through the flip. Terrified me until today. I cannot do a backflip. I literally
Yeah.
stand in a puddle of sweat, and I get so much in my head that I literally just actually walked away from them for now, because they gave me so much anxiety that I was like,
Mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
just not positive, and it affects my training on so many other levels as well. That I
Yeah.
was like, let's keep them aside for now. We can get back to them at a later stage. Let's focus on something else. So
Yeah, yeah, and we have the rest of our lives to master our bodies, so that's the good thing. We could always come back and revisit things that.
exactly, and it's good to as well acknowledge certain things that hold you back at a certain time to focus on something else. And the mind plays such a big role in like calisthenics and a lot of sports, like,
Yeah,
but as well, like, there's so many like scary little movements in calisthenics, and some people are more open to challenge your body and their fear. And for me, I'm someone who tends to overthink. I want to understand the movement, and
right.
sometimes that holds you back and slows down the progress. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as you acknowledge that's who you are and you work with that. And
I think the first step is exactly what you said, acknowledgement. Knowing where we can improve on, and once we know what we can improve on, we can slowly take strides or steps to that and accomplish that goal, whatever it is. Whether it's a handstand, whether it's a backflip, whether it's your first pull up. Calisthenics
exactly.
does show it is a huge. Let me repeat that. Calisthenics does have a huge fear factor. Um, I've been having the opportunity and also the privilege of training some of my friends, because and then as I mentioned prior to the interview, my family as well. They've seen the
Yeah.
transformation, and the first thing I told them is, guys, we need to figure out what's your strengths, what's your weakness, and what's your fears. When I said fears, it was like, what type of training you trying to put me to? This is boot
Very
camp for the
true.
military, and I'm like, well, militaries break you down not only physically but also mentally, and that's pretty much what calisthenics is. It's a breakdown of your connections, mind and muscle, but also your mind as sort of your like your aptitude to do things. How much are you going to challenge yourself today? Those things are a huge mental breakdown that some people have not gone through, and that's why I brought that up. So you're bringing up a lot of valid points, Julie. Great stuff, and it's an amazing journey in the beginning, and I'm glad that it's changed your life for a positive. Now that you've got a few years training, how would you consider your training different from when you started to now as a personal coach now? Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you very much. I think the biggest lesson I had to learn is to balance out my training.
Okay.
It's good to go hard, but you
Yeah,
as well need to learn to rest. When I
absolutely. Yep.
first started, I was like, oh, I need to go hard, I need to go strong. And like, I was like, oh, if I take a couple of days rest, I'm going to lose my pull up. And I was like, no, you don't, like to really find that balance of training and active recovery and program your training. Yes, you don't do pull ups every day, like balance it through push, through pull and core. One day it's skills, one day it's statics. Don't neglect your legs, like I think in calisthenics, I don't enjoy legs. I hate leg day, but it has to be done because as well, and a lot of skills in calisthenics, you need your posterior chain. So like deadlifts, glute bridges, hip thrusts, they actually help you in your planches, in your back levers, front levers, because you need to learn how to engage that posterior chain and get that posterior chain strong. So I think that was a very good lesson to learn, and it took me a while to acknowledge that properly. And as well, the second one, which I'm still struggling with, is to balance the strength work with the mobility work. I'm not a naturally mobile, flexible person.
Yeah.
I have very stiff shoulders. I have stiff hamstrings. So in handstands in the beginning, to get into a handstand line, a nice line, very difficult because I just don't have that shoulder mobility. And I'm don't enjoy mobility training very much. So it was all about like getting strong and to find that balance, to be strong yet mobile, flexible. I think that is the biggest achievement you can get in calisthenics or in any sport, because I feel like in a lot of strength sports we neglect that mobility part, but that as well keeps you from getting injuries, from like having your muscles, if something funny happens, if you have the mobility, your muscles may not tear. I mean, I tore my hamstrings 1.5 years ago, and it was not pleasant. It was very painful. It was very stupid. Don't ask me how I did it. So, but it took some time to recover from that, and it's like
a huge muscle. It's a huge
it
muscle.
delayed me in my handstand progress. I couldn't get into a handstand for like 3 months, and I couldn't do a lot of things. I mean, so it's good to keep that balance, and I think that is a very, very hard part, especially for, I think a lot of guys, they more like me, they don't enjoy that mobility training, and they don't really see the
benefits, but there's a lot of benefits. Absolutely.
Like, oh, why would I want to be flexible? I don't want to be in the splits, or like it's so girly, and like, but mobility is not necessarily just about doing the splits or like putting your foot around your neck or something. It's like the shoulder mobility, your lower back, to really be able, and let's face it, a lot of calisthenic skills, especially when you start doing freestyle, like, I mean, all those swings, that is so much in your shoulders, and when you try to catch a 360, and you, like, if you don't have your shoulders open and nice and mobile, it hurts. And the lats, I mean, we do so much pull, like front lever, pull-ups, flags, it all goes so much in your lateral muscles, and if you don't get them more mobile, the potential injuries are very high. So I think these are the two lessons I really had to learn to balance my training, to really to program it proper, to find where are your strengths, your weaknesses, and as well, train your weaknesses. Like, it's great to be strong, it's great to do a lot of pull-ups in a row, but like, it needs to be balanced out. And I think with getting older and realizing that my body just takes a bit longer to react to certain things, like I see some mid-20 people trying to get into the splits, they stretch 3-4 times and they have their splits, and then I come there, I don't feel older, or like I don't feel like that I'm older than them, but then my body is almost 37 years old. So my body's like, what are you doing to me now? Why are you trying to get mobile now? So it's
after
like,
so many years,
you kind of have to just go with what your body lets you do and find the right way.
Yeah, agreed, Julie. And I'm glad you mentioned mobility. It is something that we lack here, as well as leg training in the calisthenic community. This is why you see a lot of memes on social media where calisthenic athletes don't wear shorts because they don't train legs. So I'm a big firm believer of training the body entirely as a machine. As we know, and as you mentioned, legs is really important one, for a healthy body, two, to actually function well in whatever sport you're doing, and three, I mean, I want to continue walking for the rest of my life. I'm not sure of others. I don't want to be the type of person with a cane in my hand. I'm sure that's not just the only reason why you would have a cane or other, tools to, to get you to walking. But I feel like, if we train our legs now, that we're younger, we have the capacity to do so. You'll see the transferability of the mobility, the gains, and also gains, guys, like, and ladies, like, if you want to get leaner, if you want to get stronger, when you work out these huge muscles like your quads and your hams, they allow a lot of, for men, testosterone, for women, estrogen, and a lot of other chemical and hormones that happen in your body to allow the fat loss process to go smoother, the recovery to go better, your strength gains to get, increase.
Absolutely.
So it's really important. And mobility, guys, if you can't be mobile or flexible, your gains are only up to where your mobility allows you to go to. So that's something I'm working on. Just when I mentioned, I did a quick 10-15 minute this morning, and I try to do at least two of those a day, either in the morning, in the middle of my day, or at night, or somewhere in between my training too. And I've seen in just the past week of me doing this alone, along with cold showers, it has, one, reduced my pains on like certain ligaments or joints and like key areas such as shoulders, elbows, and wrists. As we know, that's a huge play for most of our upper body movements. And luckily for me, I have a good flexibility on my legs. I'm not sure if it's just because as a kid I've always done running and stuff like that, but still, I've noticed that it's something I got to work on. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's something that it's overlooked a lot. It's overlooked a lot, and we can start that conversation here. What's your favorite What's your favorite skill to train?
Favorite skill to train. Good question. I fell in love with flags because for me, like when I first started with calisthenics, I was like a human flag. I was like, how is that physically possible?
It
And
defies gravity.
exactly, I was like, that just, I mean, I wasn't very good in physics, but that shouldn't be happening, like that doesn't make work from what I remember from high school. So yeah, and I always thought that's just something that just not gonna happen for me. I
Right.
never even trained for it because I thought that was so out of the norm. And then about a year ago, my coach was like challenged me. She's like, just try it, to do a talk. She helped me getting into it, just like literally climbing up on not even kicking into it. She's like, just get used to being like pushing and pulling from one arm and being upside down. It's a bit scary not to fall. And I did it. And I was like, what's happening? So, and then I went from a tuck to one leg to straddle. And yeah, so I really enjoyed that because it just was something really outstanding, which I thought is just not possible for me. And then all of a sudden it was. And then I had a big struggle with my muscle ups. I've been really like, my body just couldn't figure out the movement. I got my muscle up about 1.5 months ago. I'm working on cleaning them up. They're a bit chicken wings, but I'll take it for now. We'll work on cleaning them up. At least I'm coming on top of the bar now, so I'm quite happy about that. And quite recently, I started training planche, which is like out of the norm. I mean,
it's the top tiers.
Exactly. So it's like, it's a very, very first little tiny baby step towards that wants to be a planche one day. So, but like, yeah, I mean, I have the opportunity here in Dubai to train with some really amazing athletes. I mean, like Eric Ortiz, Roger, Justin, they like all training at the gym where I train. So it's like to see these type of people train, and it's just so inspiring. And that's it. Like, calisthenics is such an amazing community, and it doesn't matter on what level they are. They still encourage you. I mean, I did my straddle planche and I got my legs off my arms, and they were like, oh my God, that's amazing. I mean, I know to them that's like nothing, like that's how they sleep probably. But but like they acknowledge the successes along the way. Or even when like someone gets their first pull-up, like, yes, a pull-up, even for me, a pull-up is nothing difficult anymore, like it's a given. But you get so excited when someone achieves like something they haven't done before, and that's the beauty about calisthenics, because I feel like it's so amazing. Like, I mean, if someone goes train in the gym and today they lift the 15 kg dumbbell instead of the 12 kg, like it feels like different to me personally. Again, like I'm not saying anything against how other people train, you know, like
Right.
everyone needs to find what they enjoy, because that's the most important part. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it. If you love it, you're going to stick with it. So everyone needs
Absolutely.
to find what they want. But yeah, I think flags is the one skill that I really enjoy training, because I've been seeing a lot of progress as well. I'm
Yeah.
working on my front levers, back levers. As I said, I just started with planche, but like, yeah, I feel like flags is a cool party trick, you know, like a lot of people,
It's
they kind of like,
you
like,
come
you're
and
like, oh,
pull a
let me do a flag,
flag.
you know, like
You pull a flag anywhere, and you're gonna impress some
exactly, that's
people.
the
You're
thing,
gonna
you know,
start a
like it's kind of
conversation
like,
for sure. For sure.
so it's like, yeah, it's a cool party trick to have, you know, so it's that's
It's
why I think
something I
I
want to
really
add
like
to my repertoire for sure. It's something I want to add to my abilities soon enough. You know, I'm working towards that. Planche is the first thing I want to work towards, and I feel if I once I master planche, it would transition as far as the memory, the muscle memory, the strength, and everything else to the other skills.
yeah, of course, you know, like, and the thing is, I think my biggest problem when I started with calisthenics, I wanted so many things at the same time, and then nothing, like, I was okay at a lot of things, but I wasn't really good at anything. Because if you want to do your front lever, your back lever, your planche, your flag, your handstand, your flipping, your wraps, you want to like get like, you need to balance it out, and you need to
Hmm.
have if like a couple of goals to work towards, because if you have 20 goals you're working towards, you get lost in translation, and it's just not gonna happen.
And your body gets confused. You know, one day you train planche, the next day you train front lever, then you're doing dynamics on a Wednesday, and it's like, whoa, can you give me some sort of better structure here? So one for recovery, and two just to gain that muscle connection. You know, that mind muscle connection. It's really important to build that
Exactly.
neurological pathways. Um, Listen, I'm glad that you brought up a lot of this stuff because human flag and planches, they're all things that we all want. But like you said, when you get too lost in the sauce as far as skills, when you get trained for too many, it's going to take you a longer journey. It's to see progress, and I feel like you should focus on maybe one or two at first,
I
and then
agree.
just build up your skills. And
Exactly, and don't neglect the foundations. You know, like a lot of
no,
people, they go from all the crazy skills, but you know, like do your push-ups, do your pull-ups, do your dips, do your core work. You know, like don't neglect the basics. For me, like I have 1 day a week at least where I just rep out the basics until, like, you know, like do like my pull-ups, my dips, my toes to bar, my V-ups. You know, like my even a basic plank. You know, like try to hold that for 10 minutes.
yeah,
You get
10
it done. You
minutes.
know, so.
Wow. I was thinking 5, you know. She's like, I'll try to hold it for 10. We'll be fine.
Well, my maximum is 10 minutes 17. So
Wow, wow, that's nice. That's really good. That's really good. I was here bragging about 5 minutes. Julie,
I can,
and
you know, in the plank, I can, my boyfriend, he's 100 kg. He can sit on my back and I can hold it for half a minute. So
wow, 100 kg weighted plank. That is
yeah, and I'm
amazing.
48 kg. So I'm like, he's double
That's
my weight.
double your weight. Jeez, Julie, you're strong, man. That's awesome, Julie. I love it. I love it. You know, another thing that I love you mentioned is you said, like, you know, the Eric, Justin, they all look at you when you did your first straddle planche, or whether it was your pull up. They gave you so much encouragement, so much support. You know, the hype, as we like to call it, it was there. The vibes. I love that you brought that up because it's something that is true in the calisthenics community. No matter where you're at the level, you could be at the park and you accomplish your first pull up. Whoever's around there that has that vibe will, you know, shout you out and cheer you up. I know with my friends when they, you know, started 3 months ago, and then out over here they're starting to doing skin the cats now because they feel more confident with themselves. You should have seen me the other day. I was yelling in the park. I looked like a madman. Just, you know, everybody looked at me like, why is he so hyped? But yeah, it's same way. Same for me. If I come out with something new, they get hyped. And I love that community aspect. You know, the social environment is so great. So great. What's your
Absolutely.
worst, well, not your worst, your least favorite exercise or skill to train?
Least favorite exercise is dips. I do not like dips. I train them. The thing is with dips, I feel like um I personally feel like I just don't get better, which is not necessarily true because I'm increasing my range of motion,
Yeah.
but you don't really, you like, I'm like feeling like anything above 10 dips just is hard. And like, yes, I'm like, before I went like 90 degrees, now I'm like bringing the shoulders down, but you look at the reps and it's just, not happening. Like, yeah, I
Listen, reps
probably
is
dips.
important, but also quality.
I do not like dips. I prefer pull workouts anyways.
Okay.
So I'm okay with like any type of push-ups, but dips, yeah, not my favorite.
Not your favorite. Well, listen, I always say quality over quantity. You know, if you're doing 10 reps, that's more than enough to get hypertrophy. From my understanding of,
Absolutely.
I'm not a physiotherapist or anything, but from my understanding of my research, you know, 8 to 12 range is the range of reps where you can actually create muscle growth and strength gains. So sometimes the you know, the more reps you do is just for endurance purposes. So you're in the right rep range. You know, if a lot of people can't do 10. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of people in the beginning can't do 10, or even now, you know, with their body weight. I mean, you're doing 100 kilogram plank. I'm sure you're probably gonna start doing some weighted dips soon. I'm sure of it, and that might even help you out as far as getting the
Yeah.
reps longer. But you said now you're getting more mobile in your shoulders, so you're getting deeper, so you're gonna feel more chest activation as well. Because I noticed the deeper you go, you also gotta, you know, you also get
Exactly.
engaged at
Agreed.
chest.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
these, in my opinion, these are all strength gains. You know, from
No,
I'm not
I
sure how
agree.
you.
I agree. But it's just you like if you just look at the reps, you just feel like, why am I not getting more? You know, like push-ups,
Yeah,
okay, you can like, but it's yeah, I don't know. I just not my favorite. I still do them because I know they're good for you, but if I like, yeah, I need to be pushed most of the time to do them. So
I hear you. I hear you. And as human beings, we're never satisfied. I'm gonna be 100%. I can do something to my friends that is like, dude, that was amazing. And I'm like, nah, man, it wasn't clean, man. It wasn't clean. You know, or whatever the case is. Like you saw that technique, you saw that form, nah, man. Or bro, that was so hard. And you know, just it's just us as humans. We're never satisfied. But
oh
let's
yeah,
get
well, we'll always find something. And you know, like I'm generally someone very overcritical. I'm like because I accept the progress and
right,
how it goes, but
right.
I do know as well what it could be like. Like for example, when I do my handstand the other day, I did a above 20-second handstand, and I was very excited. But I was like, oh, my form is like such a banana. But I was like, okay, I fought for it. It's okay. You know, like pushing into the line. It's like I'll take it. I was going for a above 20-second hold, so I achieved what I was going for. So it's like, yeah, or even like when I did my first muscle up, yes, that was amazing. But then straight away I was like, yeah, but it was really chicken wings, you know. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
yeah.
happy I got up there, but it's not the end. It's just one step further into the right direction. So,
Yep.
and I think if you're being critical with yourself and you keep increasing your goals and you're not satisfied with where you get, this is what keeps you going, you know. Like, I mean, if I'm happy with like, oh, I got on top of the bar, so what am I training for, you know? Like, you need to
Absolutely.
keep going. So, and you need to adjust your goals, and it's comes all along the way. I mean, like once upon a time, like 5 pull-ups was my goal, and now like 5 pull-ups is a given. If I don't get to 10, I feel like, oh wow, you're feeling weak today, you're feeling heavy today, you know, like.
Yeah.
And so it all adjusts with us, and we're always gonna try to push more, and we want to try to do other things. And but I think that's the beauty about it as well.
Yeah, and there's always once you reach your limit or your cap, that always increases, and that's what I've noticed in calisthenics. No matter where you're at in your level, you can be Eric Ortiz, or you can be me, started 6 months ago, and there's always a new level, a new limit that you can always, you know, try to achieve.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I see Eric. I mean, he like, you think there's nothing that boy cannot do, and then he pulls out something else, and you're like, he does like a 2-finger handstand flag on top of the high bar, and you're like, what is even happening here? Like, is that real? You know, like you're like,
yeah,
I mean, that's like sometimes I walk into the gym and I see all this craziness happening, and I was like, what's going on here? You know,
yeah.
but it inspires you, and it's amazing,
Yeah,
and when
for
you,
sure. For sure. It's definitely inspirational that we can always continue pushing our bodies to beyond our limits. So, Julie, now that we know a little bit about what's your best workout or your favorite workout and your least favorite, you know, you mentioned recovery, and you said something that caught my attention, active recovery. You know, so as far as recovery, do you structure your days as like 2 or 3 days out of the week for recovery, and some of them maybe you do passive and active, or tell me a little bit how's your recovery?
my recovery is I'll try to take at least one day a week where I literally don't do anything. Like I
Okay.
literally just I mean, I do my work, or like I just go out with friends, meet them for lunch, or even have out a drink and go out, you know, for dinner and have a glass of wine. And like I am living generally healthy, but you know, like sometimes you have to spoil yourself. Sometimes
Yeah, you
pizza
gotta
and a
self-indulge.
glass of wine, it's nothing wrong. Again, it comes down to being balanced.
Yep.
Um, and sometimes like going hard, like for really intense training, I try to do that 4 times a week
Hmm.
maximum. Then I have one day, I call it my playing around day at the gym, where I train, like I go to freestyle classes, but my freestyle is very basic. So it's more like swinging on the bars, trying to get my 360, working on a few things. Again, the fear factor a lot, with
Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
things of like going backflips from the bar. So like, and then playing around with some handstands. I mean, living in Dubai, we obviously have amazing weather. So active recovery for me would be like a day at the beach and
Okay.
like doing some water sports, like stand-up paddling, some wakeboarding, stuff like this, where you're still active and you're moving, but you're not actually training
Yeah,
for
recreational
anything.
sports.
So
Recreational
exactly,
sports.
it's
Yeah, for
something
sure.
like this. I wouldn't really. I know some people consider that workouts, but for me, it's just fun. Like as well, when I go stand up paddling, I probably end up doing headstands and handstand on that stand up paddle more than actually paddling. So it's that's probably me going to the beach as well. I always somehow end up upside down, but it's you know, it's just fun. It's you don't really you're not pushing it for like a maximum amount of holes and all this.
Right.
It's just for fun. But like yeah, I'm trying to do like at least one day, as I said, where I literally don't do anything, which is usually for me Saturdays. But because our weekend here in Dubai is Friday, Saturdays. I used to do it on Fridays, but now I'm on Fridays. My gym where I train at added a double class by Justin, and I just cannot not go to a double class, like 2 hours of Justin shape. It's it's something you don't want to miss, you know.
Yeah, for
Like it's
sure, man. If I had the opportunity to train in the fitness gym with these guys, I would definitely do it, especially with you too, Julie. Like, you know, it's I know for a fact just being in that environment, you know, you get
oh
one,
yeah.
that inspiration, that motivation, and also the tips and you know, like the tips that you probably get, like, hey, do this, do that, and those little
Yeah, no,
coaching
absolutely. I
methods.
mean, Justin got me to my handstands. I was struggling so much with just holding it for 3 seconds. And then earlier this year, after we came out from lockdown here in Dubai, like because gyms were closed for 2 months from March to May.
Right.
And during lockdown time, like Justin was doing like in live Instagrams for his handstands, and I did a few classes with him before, but I put more focus on my handstands again. And then coming out, I started actually taking a few PTs with Justin for just my muscle ups and handstands, because I was like, I need to get that muscle up. It's unacceptable now. I have more than 15 pull-ups in a row. Why can I not do a muscle up? That's just like everyone told me, like, it doesn't make sense. You're so strong. How come you don't have a muscle up? And I was
It's
like, I don't
transition,
know.
transition is hard. Transition is hard.
Exactly. It's just my body just didn't understand the legs and the from the pull to the push, and it
Yep.
just was like
It's
it
a
just
lot.
didn't make
It's a lot
sense in my
happening at
brain.
once. It's a lot happening at once, just like handstands.
Exactly.
It's a
So
lot
it's
of
like,
things
and
at
I was
once.
like, okay, I took 10 PTs with Justin. I told him, listen, you got to get me to that muscle up. I cannot afford more. You're too expensive for me. And like, obviously, we do it 1 hour. And then besides muscle up, we focus on handstands. And literally, I didn't get my muscle up in the 10 sessions. Took me a couple of more weeks. But he fixed my handstands. I had a 15-second within those 10 sessions. And he's like, and it was just little tiny things, like push a bit more from the shoulders, work more through your fingers,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
know where you shift your balance. And all of a sudden, I mean, it happens, you know.
It
So
clicks. It clicks.
yeah, and then sometimes it's like really like it just clicks in your brain, and then all of a sudden it makes sense, and you've been trying it for so long. And
But once it
as I said, I'm
clicks,
probably not the fastest learner, but I'm very dedicated, and that's what the guys at Gravity always say as well. Like, you're a beast because you don't give up. Like you may not get it first, but you just keep coming back and you keep trying. And
your tenacity to keep on going is amazing, Julie. I love that. I love that. And as we know, hard work beats talent in calisthenics. Any
yes.
day, any day. In my opinion, you know, anybody
Oh,
has
I
their opinion.
absolutely agree. I mean, if you're talented and you work hard, then
I
you're
mean,
on
that's a
top
different,
of like
right,
on top of everything, you know.
right.
Like
That's a
then you.
different story. But there are not many people that do that because once you're talented, you tend to slack off a bit because you have that talent. But when you work hard for it, I feel like there's one, nobody can take that away from you, and two, you just get better. You put in more
Yeah,
grind, you put in more effort, and that's the thing about calisthenics. Anybody can do it. Doesn't matter your
anybody can do
background.
it, and it, it really depends on your own goals. I mean, for me personally, it's not my goal to compete one day anymore. Like, I mean, I know I probably won't be at that level ever. I probably should have started 20 years earlier. But again, my goal is to enjoy myself, to be 50 and still do a handstand. Like, I want to be like athletic, and I want to inspire, and I want to show people it's never too late to start, because I started at the age of 33. And there are, like, I mean, there's this guy in the gym, he's 53 and he does muscle ups and handstands. And I was like, and that's amazing, like
Agreed.
it can be any age, it can be anywhere, pretty much you can do it. And it's for everyone. I mean, I'm getting my niece and my nephew into it. They 8 and 11. I mean, my 8-year-old niece, she can do 3 pull-ups. I mean, how amazing is that?
I'm gonna have to show this to my sister because I told my sister I'm gonna be training my nephew once he's already of age. And I saw on Instagram, I think it's a Wolf Calisthenics school. It's a school maybe in UK, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in Europe. But I saw a 2-year-old. What I can tell was a toddler. That's the point.
Yeah.
And he was just doing dead hangs and like for like 20 seconds, and I'm like, a 2-year-old has the ability to do this.
My
That means
niece is monkey bars at the age of 3.
yeah, I know. I see it all the time around my park. I'm even considering getting another pair of rings for the kids in my park because when I'm doing my workouts, they want to come and join me.
Yeah,
But
to them it's fun. They don't see it as a workout. It's just like, oh, we're hanging from the bars and we're swinging, and it's just
yeah,
like they just try it. It's not even a workout, and that's the thing about calisthenics. So many times I just go and was like, I'm playing around, but it's actually a workout. You just don't.
yeah,
It doesn't feel like it. So
yeah. It's actually fun. It's actually fun. It's
yeah,
not like
exactly.
I've been in the weightlifting game myself because at one point in my life I felt like I was too skinny. So I did the basic bodybuilder things.
Yeah.
And I put on 20 pounds overall body weight, which I felt more comfortable. But once I reached my goal, there was not much more to like, keep me going and motivated. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I can put on more weight, but what is that going to do for me functionally? And that's what calisthenics provided for me, functional strength. It's going to be longevity
Yes.
things.
Yes. I can't agree more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me about diet, because as we know, diet takes not only a big part of recovery, but also a performance. What do you do as far as your nutrition?
Very good question.
And be honest, we all have
To be
different
very, very
perspectives.
honest, when I first
Perspectives on
started off
that.
with fitness, I was very strict on my diet. I was like, I mean, I had a few more pounds, kg, whatever you want to balance it in, on my hips, and I was like, I wanna lose some weight. I want to get a bit more tone. I want to be shredded, and I was very, very clean in my food. I mean, I didn't drink a sip of alcohol for 2 years.
Wow.
I didn't allow myself to eat any like cakes or anything. So, and I got shredded. I mean, I had a 6-pack. I was shredded. And at some point I was like, I know the basics of healthy eating. I don't have a meal plan. I don't count my calories because, to be very honest, when I was younger, I had a very unhealthy look at my body, and I was always a bit chubby. I was never overweight or fat, but I always was one of the chubbier. I wasn't naturally skinny. And then growing up in the early 2000s, I was in to be like size 0, and that just wasn't me. And so I always kind of struggled with eating. I was just like, I wanted to lose weight, and I just stopped eating, and
I
that's just
understand.
not healthy, obviously. So
Right, right.
for me, I'm like, I reached the point where I have a very healthy balance with food and my body, and I do generally eat clean. I try to get my proteins in. I love seafood and chicken. I'm not a really red meat person. I don't really
Okay.
eat steaks and all this. I get my vegetables in. I try to get my carbs in a healthy way. Quinoa, couscous. I love potatoes. I'm German. It's part of our
Culture.
culture.
Yeah.
Can't hide that. I do allow myself once a while like a drink here and there.
Yeah.
And
When you're social, of course,
so it's like, yeah, I don't follow a meal plan. I don't count my calories, but I'm generally eating healthy. I'm trying to get my 3 meals in a day. I'm not snacking in between. Like, I'm not like unhealthy snacking. I may have an apple in between.
Right, right.
I don't have chocolates or any sweets at home because I have no discipline when it comes to that. If I had it, I would just eat it. So if I have sweets, it's usually when I go out. I may like have a cheesecake or something because I love cheesecake. But I would never have that at home because I literally would eat the whole cake.
I
So,
completely understand. The same way with ice cream. If I have a pint or two, it's not gonna survive the
oh yeah,
weekend.
same here. Like ice cream, it's like when my boyfriend's like, "Oh, I brought you ice cream." I was like, look at him, I was like,
Why?
"Why the big one? You know, it's gonna be gone in half an hour." You know, like, he's like, "Oh, but for the whole week." And I was like, "You think that lasts the whole week?" You
Yeah,
know, so
right.
no.
But I'm glad you
So
brought that
like,
up because it's all about conscious eating. I think that's what you're doing now. You're putting, you know what you're putting into your body, and you know what it does for you. And you mentioned that you've done the counting the calories, the macros, the deficits to get into the shredding, so you know what it takes to do that, and you build the habits. That's what I've realized
yeah,
myself. You build healthier eating habits, and then which is the best part is you're more comfortable with yourself. That's what
exactly.
you've
And the
mentioned.
thing is, like, I'm not as shredded as I used to be, but on the other hand, I'm way stronger. Like, it's not just about the way you look; it's about what your body can do. Yes,
Hmm.
I'm more lenient, but as well, I'm more happy because I allow myself to spoil myself to have a cheat meal once in a while because again it comes down to being balanced. And when I
Agreed.
first started off, I was so focused on it, and I my friends were like, "Oh, let's go out for a drink," and I was like, "No, I don't drink," like, so my social life kind of suffered from it. And like people were like, "Oh, come on, don't be like this," and I was fine back then, but now I was like, you know what, let's live a bit again. So I've done it, I know I can do it, but now, I mean, it's not like I'm fat or anything. I still have I'm still toned and everything. It's just not as shredded as before, and
And
it's
again, this
okay. And like, because I'm comfortable with it.
exactly, you're comfortable with it, you're happy, and I'm glad you brought that up. We have to be happy because, as you mentioned earlier with the workout, if you're not happy, if you don't love it, you're not going to stick through it. And something I noticed is diets. That's another thing. If you're not happy, eating these foods, or the way you structure your meal plan, you're not going to stick through it. You may do it to get your ultimate goal, but after that, it's like what? Like what happens then? That's what I realized about
Exactly.
about dieting is you got to be happy with what you're doing. And yeah, if you want to reach a goal, do the steps that you need to reach that goal. But if your goal is just to live a healthier, happy lifestyle, this cheat days are very included into meal prepping and including calorie deficits to get toned and shredded. You have to have a cheat day, so always indulge. That's my opinion on
Exactly. And
nutrition.
but I always say, like, if you indulge in a nice way. Don't go and have a burger at McDonald's. Go and have a nice burger somewhere, or have
Quality
a nice
burger.
pizza exactly, have the quality so that you really indulge and you still get proper meal preparations. And don't go for the shit food, like, because
Right,
that's
the
just
junk
like
food, the
literally
fast
zero
food.
nutrition, nothing. So if you have a good burger in like a nice sports bar or something, that's good meat. There is some vegetables, like, it's not like this. I mean,
It has more
I
nutritional
don't want to say
value.
anything bad about fast food restaurants, but I just
Listen,
can't stand
listen.
them. So.
I completely understand it. Fast food restaurants is, in my opinion, just a monopoly of business to create profit. If there was a sense of nutrition in those foods, then things would be a whole different, play game,
Yeah,
or a whole
exactly.
different field, should I say? So I completely agree with you as far as the fast food. And if you're gonna indulge into something, make it a quality burger, make it a quality pizza. Like when you're out at a bar, watching a soccer game. I'm a big football fanatic, so when you're out there,
Same here.
enjoy. I'm sure Germany is huge on football too.
Oh yeah.
Um, and congratulations to the last World Cup winning. I'm sure you were probably pretty happy about that, beating
Well,
Brazil.
the second last, not last one
Second
anymore.
last,
Last
yeah,
one
yeah,
was.
because the second, right, last one was France, and then the second last one
Yeah,
where
let's
you,
not mention 2018. We're not talking about that part. That was horrible for Germany.
well, I was mentioning the 2014 is that's what I mentioned. The reason why I mentioned that so with such passion and such joy is because you beat Brazil, 7-1 after Brazil beating Colombia in a horrible
Yeah.
boxing match. That's why I wore this shirt today.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It was, dude,
that was a quite a.
that was the most aggressive game I've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, that was yeah, going on big time. I was like, wow.
Somebody, they were like, the statistics stated there was like 50 to 70 fouls that were like displayed in the game, but only like 12 were called. And I'm like, yeah, I've seen a whole lot of things that should have been called, but let's
Yeah,
not
it
get
was
off
kind of like,
topic.
is that boxing? Is that still football? What's going on here?
It looked
Like
like it looks like
kickboxing
it
with
looks
a
like a
ball or what?
rugby met soccer, met
Oh
football.
yeah,
That's what it reminded me of. I'm like I've never seen such an aggressive a game, man. But South American football is usually a really really contact sport. That's what I've noticed myself. But let's not get off topic. I'm glad that you love football. You know, it's another world sport like calisthenics. But let's get back to the interview. Now that we know a little bit about your past and also kind of your now, let's talk about what's your motivation now. What keeps you fueled, Julie?
Well, what keeps me fueled is to really still work on my skills, improving on a daily, weekly basis, to
Mm-hmm.
test out like how strong I can be, to really like and inspire. I mean, it's like I really like I love when people come to me and like, wow, you're so strong, and like how long you've been doing this, and then I tell them like I've been doing this for 3 years, and then they find out my age because a lot of people don't really guess my age right because I'm very tiny and I'm always talking in squeaky voices and probably not acting my age. So people get quite surprised when they hear my age, and they're like, I want to inspire. I want people to get into it. Don't feel shy to get started. We all started somewhere, and
Mm-hmm.
if you check out my Instagram, you can see there's a lot of about my personal journey as well, and a lot of fails as well. Like I'm not shy to post the ones that didn't go right, because I think that's part of the journey. And a lot of times we forget that even someone who holds a handstand for a minute, they started at some point with a simple kick up, and
Yep.
you feel frustrated sometimes. You feel like, oh, but they're so good, how come I can't get there? And like the muscle up for me, like personally, like it took me so long to get my muscle up, and I got frustrated. I was like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I figure it out? And then other people come and go and they get their muscle up in like 2-3 sessions, and I'm like, oh, I'm still here, hi. So it's like, and this is what keeps me motivated. It's like the people around me who inspire me,
Yeah.
and who I can inspire to just get started, and the community. And I just love it. Makes me happy to work out, to train people as well, to pass on my passion, and to be inspired by all the people around you, to learn new tricks, and to just push yourself every single day a little further and see what your body can do, and to just grow old and be still active and really find your age. I think nowadays age is really just a number. It's what you make it. And there are people in their 40s and their 50s who are like really killing it, smashing it, and it's so inspiring to see. And I want to be one of those people when I grow up.
Julie, we will be strong, older people as we progress in our journeys in our life. Something that I've been saying a lot here is I want to be the type of grandpa that, you know, I'm 80, gray hairs, but I'm still doing a muscle up with my kids or my grandkids, and
Exactly,
I consider
exactly.
that weighted calisthenics.
Exactly. Like I mean, it's I do push-ups with my niece on my back. I'm like, I try to pull up. I mean, she was a little heavy.
But listen, you're trying it, and you're only gonna get stronger, and that's great motivation to have. And as you mentioned, you know, we cannot compare ourselves with others people's journeys or others what they accomplished, because calisthenics is really a battle and a challenge within yourself. And
Exactly.
just keep on getting better, not only as an athlete but as a person. And that leads me to my next subject, right? Because we know that calisthenics helps build a stronger mind and muscle connection. It helps build a strong physique and a strong mental, right? And like, you know, as
Yeah.
far as like your viewing on things and just your ability to handle things differently. What other aspects of your life has calisthenics changed?
I mean, the main like big part was obviously my career, that I literally walked away from a very stable, successful career in hotels, and I was like on the career ladder going up, and I was like, you know what? I don't want this anymore. I've become a lot calmer. I used to be a very snappy, emotional person because I was just so stressed out from work. So I learned how to just enjoy the work-life balance, to be more stronger, to be more open as well. Like I was always like a very workaholic. I mean, over here in Dubai, in hotels, everyone always told me like, stop being so German, because I was very like, okay, things need to get done, let's go, you know. So it's
Stop being so
and
German.
to
That's a new one. Sorry, got caught off with that one. But as you were saying, Julie,
the
looks so
whole
cut off.
life just calm down, and it's and I'm more relaxed. I'm more like less getting stressed out, and it's just, and I feel I'm more healthy mentally as well. I'm not so competitive anymore. I still get competitive, don't get me wrong, in the
Mhm.
right ways, but I was tending to be competitive in, like, you know, like I just got to be first in everything. And like to a certain degree, I'm not necessarily proud of that. You're kind of like, okay, if I have to kick someone in the back while getting there, then this is what I got to do.
Right.
And my whole mindset of like being a more calm person, I think it really, even my mom like realized this. She was very hesitant towards my career change, and I mean, she was like, why you walk away from a successful career? But seeing me how I
Evolved.
became like evolved and like be stronger, be physically stronger, mentally stronger. And yeah, I think that's really what calisthenics has done for me. I'm just a more healthy person in so many ways. I'm like my relationships with my friends, with like my boyfriend. I mean, like I was in and out of really bad relationships and just kind of kept going. And it took me a while to find the guy I'm with now. And it's like he completes me, and he's like, he is my counterpart. And it's like I was finally, through the whole change I went through, I was ready to meet someone like him. He's someone I would have never looked at 5 years ago, you know, like he's someone I would have like just like, no, I'm not going to date you, you know, like. And
Yeah.
but through everything that I went through in my life in the past 5 years, I was ready for someone like him. And to just yeah, it's just really, I mean, it's difficult to say, but it's like, yeah, it just really
I'm happy.
showed me that life doesn't always have to be a competition.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy it's had such a positive impact in your life. And through this project, I realized that calisthenics is nothing but positive. I have not seen one negative outcome or one negative impact besides the injuries, but I don't feel like those are negative. I feel like there's just things that come with the sport because of
they
whether it's
they
lack of
they battle
knowledge.
scars, you know, they battle
Exactly.
scars along the way.
Exactly. And it could just be like, lack of knowledge. It's not because you necessarily wanted
You can
to hurt
always
yourself.
learn something from it if you like. And even the recovery phase will teach you how to be more observant towards a certain movement. So it's
Yeah.
like I feel like an injury is not necessarily a bad thing, because recovering from an injury is going to teach you so many things as well about your body, or about how to do it next time, and you know, like how
And,
to
and it might
maybe
humble some people
build up
too.
the surrounding muscles more.
And it'll humble some people from realizing, all right, maybe this is too hard of a progression for me, and then let me look back
Yeah,
and restructure things. Well, overall, you also mentioned calm. It calmed your life down a lot, and that's something that's brought to me. I'm not gonna say I was really anxious, but I looked at life a little differently, and I was, like you said, I would snap easier as far as
yeah,
things that would come at me that I didn't, if I necessarily didn't like it, or if it's just something that didn't fit right in that point in time, my attitude towards that would be very aggressive, or very, just not the best way,
same here,
to handle
same here.
situations. Let's just call it that. Whether it's friends, family, or personal things that I had to deal with, I realized that life itself is hard, regardless, and you got to just take it one step at a time. Just like these calisthenic skills, they're hard, but take it one step at a time, and you will achieve it. And I think that can play out to many aspects of our life, and this is what I've learned. And it looks like you've learned some of these things too, which is great. I'm glad that we're able to connect this way, and this is what I love about this community. Like, you're all the way in
Absolutely.
Dubai from Germany. We don't even know each other, and there's so many things that I feel we have in common without even realizing it. And that's great.
Absolutely, I agree. It's amazing.
It is. It is. Julie, if you can go back, 4 or 5 years ago when you started calisthenics, right? What advice would you give yourself? What piece of advice would it be?
The advice would probably be, take it easy, take it
Okay.
step by step, don't overtrain,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Just
that.
keep on trying, because if you keep on trying, you haven't actually failed.
You don't. That's great. That is a great way of viewing things. Love the failures because you learn from them, and as long as you don't stop, you don't give up, you cannot fail, because eventually you will learn
Exactly.
and you will achieve whatever it is you set yourself out to. It's great motivation and great advice for anyone who's starting off. Um, we still have failures, and like she said earlier in the beginning, whether you're holding a handstand for 1 minute or a full planche for 60 seconds, nobody just woke up and did that. There was things that just
Exactly.
you had to do things to get to that point in your skill or ability, to do so. Julie, let's talk about your future. We know what's happening now, and thank you for telling us all of this, by the way. What do
You're
you
most
see?
welcome.
Yeah. What do you see as far as envision for your future with calisthenics or any personal goals you may have?
My future is yeah, I wanna personally like in calisthenics, I wanna grow stronger, obviously work on my skills, work a bit on my mental blocks, which I think is a lot holding me back until today. I'm working on them, but just keep enjoying, stay strong, grow old strong. I mean, on a personal level, maybe start a family one day. Inspire my kids, my niece and my nephew. They're my biggest inspiration. They both like super athletes. My nephew actually is a football player, and like inshallah one day for the German national team.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
No, but to just yeah inspire people to get started, inspire people to get started young, but even get started if you're 40, and it's never too late to change your life. And I hope and that I will be able to be in the calisthenics community for a long time, in the fitness community. I just very recently started my own little fitness apparel brand, so I'm like doing like some fun fitness meme t-shirts because I want to bring the fun into fitness. It's all like a lot of times it's like, oh, go hard or go home, no pain, no gain. It's like I was like, no, let's have it fun. I mean, like, like it's look at it with a smile. It's not
Yeah.
just always that tough, and like it should really be come something that you enjoy. So like, yeah, hopefully I can maybe grow that brand a bit more and just grow my personal fitness brand. And I started going through, like, I mean, that's the silver lining of the lovely coronavirus. I started going into online coaching, and which is something I wasn't prepared for, but like we have to cope
Yeah.
with what's been thrown at us. And that
Hmm.
was, once the gyms locked down over here, that's the only thing that you could keep going. So yeah, hoping to grow my professional career, my personal brand a bit more, and just
Good luck. Good luck.
keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're gonna be inspiring tons of people through this through your personal page on Instagram and through your tenure of fitness, and also I'm sure that we can do that through this channel here. I know for a fact that if we can touch one life, I feel better already. So
Exactly. Same here. That's for me. I'm like, I'm doing it. Like, if I just get one message on Instagram, like, you're amazing, or you keep going, it's great to see your progress. It's like, it's not about like having necessarily 100,000 followers or something. I mean, my Instagram page is still quite small. I mean, but I do get the feedback, and that's what's amazing. And
yeah.
that's really what's all about. Like, even if it's just one person, you change their life, like, and it's they see this and they say, like, you know what, if she can do it, let me try. And
But that's a
yeah, that's
snowball effect, right? Because I realize it's kind of like a snowball effect. You affect one person, one person eventually will talk about their journey. Julie, you there? There you go.
yeah,
So
sorry,
that,
my
that
phone went on power mode.
all good, all good, all good, all good. And yeah, so like it's a snowball effect. You affect one person, that person's gonna speak about their journey, and
Exactly,
then
exactly.
it's all gonna just continue going and domino effect, if you want to call it that, or whatever the case is. But yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Great goals. Good luck with you. Good luck with your
Thank
business
you. Good luck
ventures.
with what you're doing. I love what
Thank
you're
you.
doing. I love to bring like the community together, like all over the world. It's amazing. It's really, really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I realized through this project, is that there's no borders with calisthenics. No financial
Very true. And
borders,
like maybe
economical.
one day we'll train together. You come to Dubai,
Oh,
I come to see you, like let's do a session
I
together.
am planning on meeting every athlete that as I, that potentially can through this project. That's something I want to do, and just kind of like meet up with the athletes whom I interviewed. So it is something I'm planning on doing. So I'm glad for the invitation. Thank you, thank you. I will take you up on that, Julie. I will take you up on that. But I guess you pretty much answered my next question, which is, do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life? And you said, yeah, you want to do this for the rest of your life. So that's great.
Yes.
And my next question to you is, if you can choose one of the three that helped you out the most in your career, as in your journey, rather, which one would it be? Is it discipline, motivation, or purpose?
Wow. That's it's a tough one, but
And no right or wrong answer. Again, it's all perspective. It's all your opinion.
I Wow, it's a really tough one. I think I'll go with discipline
Okay.
because I think purpose, motivation kind of comes along, but
Sure.
discipline is the hard one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you built discipline through this process or through your journey.
Yep.
Whatever it is your goal. It's something that I built here, and I'm trying to have that carry on to other aspects of my life and just be more
Yep.
disciplined. Because you're never gonna muscle up, planche, or any skill for that matter if you're not disciplined in your training.
Absolutely. It's like as much as it's all about fun and enjoying yourself, but if there's no discipline, you're probably still gonna have fun, but you're not really gonna get anywhere. Because as I said before, like if you neglect the foundations, the basics, you're not gonna go to the big skills. It's
Yep. 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 And my last question to you, Julie, as a community, what can we do to improve the sport or the community?
it's wow. It's I mean, obviously, I think in the local, regional perspectives,
Hmm.
it's already growing, but it's a lot of times still a quite unknown sport. Like when I go to new clients and I tell them I do calisthenics, they look at me like, what?
Yeah.
So it's like if you're in the community, you don't realize how little known is calisthenics. It's
Yeah.
I think it's really like, I mean, social media is obviously a big thing where you can just push it out and really try to be in everyone's face. And then a lot of people like, oh, it's kind of like gymnastics, isn't it? And I was like, on one hand, yes. On the other hand,
No.
no.
Yeah.
It's, yes, there are some certain skills that come from gymnastics. And
Yeah.
I always try to explain when people are like, oh, but what's the difference? I was like, okay, if you look at dancing, you have ballet and you have hip hop. So gymnastics would be the ballet and calisthenics is the hip hop, you know? So it's like,
Wow. I like the way
so
you
like, you know,
put
like
that.
it's kind of like, it's a bit more no rules. You do what your body tells you to do. It's less restrictive. And yeah, to grow as a community, I think what you're doing is amazing to trying to make it more global, because as I said, like in certain countries, it's quite a big thing already, and other communities less. To really bring it out global, it's going to be the big challenge to make it as a accepted sport with like accepted competitions, you know, like I feel like there's a lot of small competitions going on, but there's not like one organization that keeps it all together. So there's like, I mean, there's the WCO and then there's the WFSF something,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot. There's a few organizations. Yeah. Hmm.
exactly. So like I feel like they all need to come together so that you really have like one European champion, one Middle Eastern champion, one world champion, because there's like a lot of people, and no, like they're obviously all amazing athletes, you know, but it's like it needs to be like one big community to really make it grow and make it grow as a sport, as a competitive sport, you know, like
So
I
like
mean, like in
create
football you have the FIFA, you have the UEFA, and then everyone has, and then each country has their small like
national team, and then you have
national
the
one as well, but it's
confederations
like
within the like South American, North
exactly. So
American. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
like, I mean, obviously that's going to be a very, very far future. But if this is something that the sport could pull off, then I think there's no limitations, because people will see how much fun it is and how easy it is to get into it in the end. Like you don't need a lot of equipment. You don't need you can do it in your backyard, you know, like you don't really need to pay like big sports organizations to train, you know, like with football, you have to be a team and then you have to be paying. And like, even when you start young, you know, like it's financially restrictive to certain people, but they may be really beasts in it, but they just never been given the opportunity. So
Hmm.
it's something like anyone can do, as you said before. It's like you can do it anywhere, anytime, and like you set up a pair of rings on a tree, or like you a set of bar, even it's nothing that is that difficult to set up. You don't need
Use your
an actual
imagination.
gym.
Use your
Exactly, like
imagination
a
to do
two or three.
pulling.
I mean, I've done pull-ups in trees before, you
Yep,
know, so it's
I've
like
seen it and I've done it myself. Like here in New York, there's a lot of construction. So like when the parks
yeah.
are closed, I would just bring my rings to like the scaffolding and just tie it up on the scaffolds. And I'm like, well, we got to do what we got
Yeah.
to do. I got to get my workout in. And yeah,
Exactly,
this.
exactly. So I feel like there's so much potential there as a community globally, but as well locally. I mean, here in Dubai, we've been trying to bring like different sports together, like as calisthenics, growing it as a community. I mean, Gravity is doing an amazing job, and the guys who train there, like we have a lot of like calisthenics parks opening up here. There's a lot of like public parks where you just bar parks, which are been growing in the past few years, opening. So which shows that
So having the
the demand is
governments,
there. So people are
yeah,
becoming more aware of what they do. And you take it just to the park and you do a human flag and you're like, oh, wow, what's that? You know, so
yeah,
it's really a growing community, but I think it's still a very young sport and it's so much
very.
potential there. If it's, maybe that's me as a German talking, if it's organized and like people come together and look at it, how can it be structured? Then I think there is a major potential there.
You know, Julie, I'm glad you brought that because that's what I've been talking along about this. You know, well, let me rephrase that. I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what I've been talking about in this channel, which is we have to organize, we have to get structured in order to get that recognition and just come together. You know, no matter where we're from. Yeah, we may have all these organizations and all these top athletes, but if we don't get together and actually set things down in motion, um, then things are never going to get started. And we're never going to have the Euro Cup, the North American Cup, the World Cup, which is something we should be able to do because this is a sport that is has no borders, you know, it has no boundaries. And
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like it's like, and so many other sports. I mean, look at CrossFit. I mean, what they've done with the CrossFit Games, it's like, it's amazing. Like from the
parkour is another
structural,
one.
from a, yeah. So it's like, you know, so it is possible if you come together and you have the right people who like are willing to work together and to put it together, then it is definitely possible, you know. So
well, let's keep on pushing towards that mission, towards that goal, and I'm sure that
you need a representative in the Middle East, you know.
we got Julie over there.
You know, like I do have an event organization background. I used to be in events and hotels, you know, so.
So if we need someone organizing some sort of events, we got Julie there. She'll be, you know, taking lead on calisthenic organization for events, for whatever we need to do. We already have someone who has tons of experience. If we need a commentator on sports, you already know, hit me up at Jeff Calisthenics, Jeff_Calisthenics. I can commentate, I can interview. I'm more than happy to, guys. So whoever's you know, looking to make that next big step and get people organized, you got two people here willing to do it. Hey there. Yeah, this is amazing. Let's do it, Julie. Let's do it. Julie, thank you so much. Really, this has been a great time. I'm not sure for you,
but thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for getting in touch. I feel really, really honored that you saw the potential in me, that you liked what you saw on Instagram, that you just thought I'm gonna reach out to her, and like thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with everything that you shared with us today. How about you let us know where we can follow you in your journey and also your fitness career?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram. It's fit4life by Jules.
I'll put that in the description, guys. Be sure to follow Julie, should I say, and give her that love, that support, guys, that we know as a community we can do. And if you're in Dubai and you're looking for any coaching, you know who to hit up, or even online, guys. There's a new world out there, and the virtual game is definitely elevated. So be sure to hit her up. And guys, if you like what we're doing here, you guys already know what to do. Like, wow, I cannot speak today right now. I think it's too early. Guys, if you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, and share. Please comment. Let me know what do you guys think about this. You know, if there's an athlete you want me to interview, let me know. Let me know in the comments. I'll reach out to them. They don't have to be known. Doesn't matter. I want to know every athlete's story because that's how we're going to organize and come together and let this sport grow into the potential that it has. So, Julie, thank you again for doing that. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Julie, when I'm in Dubai, I'll be sure to reach out to you and the rest of the team over there at Gravity.
If I find out you're in Dubai and you didn't get in touch, I'll be very, very angry.
No. Trust me. I don't want a German person angry with me. No. Don't want that. Because then, you know, we might see each other at the World Cup, Colombia versus Germany, and, you know, we're going to have a bad time there. I'm just playing, Julie. I'm just playing. No, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been a great time. And I will be hitting you up once I'm in Dubai, once I am able to make it over there and things get a little more normal as far as traveling. So,
yeah, let's see how that goes.
Well.